So I reckon it's probably time for us to start soon. I don't want to keep you waiting too long. Um, if anyone would also just basically has any questions or anything, I'll start answering them now. But basically, what this is this is a new chapter I've just written for the book ritual. So there is an event coming up at the end of the month called Indie Makers Syndicate, and the plan is that I'm going to be performing this live on stream as part of the event. Now, it's a new chapter. I don't know how people are going to respond to it, and that's kind of what I wanted to find out today. So really, I guess the aim is today is let's play along at home. Play along in the way that you feel comfortable. So if that's typing stuff into chat for me to write and me to draw and things like that, then do it that way. If it's defacing a book at home, tearing up a book or writing in a book at home, then do that. If it's both, do that. Basically interact with this the way that feels natural to you. And then hopefully afterwards we'll have a bit of a kind of sort of feedback session. In terms of the tone of the piece, because people are introducing, they're coming into this, blind, they probably haven't seen the book ritual before. So the tone of it, I've tried to keep a bit sort of on the lighter side. Because I know the book ritual, as it goes on, gets a bit heavier in tone. So hopefully this should be kind of on a kind of tonal level to the first chapter in the game, the one about Squeaky, the cuddly toy that went missing. And it's very much sort of, to go into subject matter that could be to do with loss and things like that, but without saying this is about a grievance or something. So that's where I'm going with it. That's the sort of tone of it. So oh no, feel free to Google cast this on the Labor's device if you feel like this will bring some joy into their day, please do. So yes, that's the tone of it, really, is what I'm going for. So I guess you'll be able to let me know at the end if that, felt like an accurate depiction of it as an experience, because the thing is, as I'm sitting here, I don't actually know quite what the tone is. I only know what it looks like from my own head, so getting your help on this is really helpful. Without further ado, I guess it is time for us to begin. Yes, spread the good book ritual. So, thank you very much for coming, and I shall press space and begin. I press space on my stream manager rather than on the book ritual itself, and that was silly of me. So here we go. Now we're in the room. My friends, both of flesh and of paper, we are gathered here in remembrance of a fully functional, modded paper shredder and a good friend. His name was Shredwood 2. Now at this point you are invited, if you have a book of your own, to tear a page of the book out. I will be tearing a page out of The Phoenix and the Carpet and feeding it through the shredder to advance. So if you want to shred a page of your own, please do go ahead now and do it along with me. There we go, and that's the first page going through Shredwood. That's Shredwood 3 down here. Many of you who have joined us will be humans who have brought books, and to those humans, I say hello. Hello all you lovely humans out there. And many of you are books who have brought humans, and to you books I say hello. Hello books. Hello books, and hello Bubble Reg, hello Leon, thank you for joining us. So you've just come in right at the beginning, and hello Tatiana, good to see you too. You've come in just at the beginning, so if you have a book in your hand, When it says shred a page, I will be tearing a page out of this copy of The Phoenix and the Carpet and putting it through the shredder. That will advance a page. That will advance the text onto the next bit. You are invited to tear a page out of your own book along with me. You are not obliged to. If you have things you want to be written into the book, just type them in. There will be invitations to do that from the book as the story goes on. My name is The Phoenix and the Carpet. Could all of the books in the audience please type their names into chat? So if you've got a book with you, could you tell me the name of the book and I'll write it into The Phoenix and the Carpet. I want to find out what books have we got in the audience today. You are also welcome to lie if you want to pretend. Guards. Okay, so we've got guards. So let's link this in with books who are present. So we've got guards. Who else do we have in the audience? There we go. That fit perfectly onto the page. Any other books in the audience? I'll give you some time if you're going to find books. Oh, beautiful. We've got an HP 3300 user guide. So while you're thinking of books are present, I'm going to just jazz up this little message. There we go. Or maybe you could describe what colour are these books. I'll see if I've got appropriate coloured pens to join them. So what colour is guards and what colour is the user guide? I'll draw a little picture of them. Or tell me what's on the front of them or something like that. I'm going to draw a little book. That's one book. And another one. So I'm going to draw. We've got 5 red herrings. Okay. Is 5 red herrings the name of the book, or is that the picture of what's on the books? Hello, Aidan. Welcome. So we've got 5 red herrings. And so red and orange. Do I have red somewhere in here? I do have red. Fantastic. And cross. There we go. I think I can remember them like what guards look like. So I'm going to draw a couple of little guards on it. There we go. I know they're more elaborate on the cover. But there we go. And we got Neuromancer, which is mostly black and dark green. Excellent. I don't even have a black pen. I do have a black pen. Oh, dark brown. Dark brown's close enough to it. So we've got 5 red herrings, Neuromancer, and The Memory of War and Children in Exile Poems. That is a beautifully long title. I appreciate it. The Memory of War and Children in Exile Poems. I nearly spelled exile wrong. 1968 to 1983. And let's have a dark, mostly black and dark green. So this is Neuromancer here. go. And La Dormeuse de Naples. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm wondering if is that a dormouse or is that a sleeping woman? Oh, I did pronounce it right. Wow. A sleeping woman. There we go. I second try I got it right. La Dormeuse. I wonder if that's where we get the word dormouse from. Like, wouldn't that be weird if we did? So this is who we've got in the audience today. We've got Guards, HP 3300 user guide, 5 red herrings, Neuromancer, The Memory of War and Children in Exile poems 1968 to 1983, and the Dormeuse with an E on the end, de Naples. Oh, that's excellent. You've got some lovely books in the chat, and let's continue. Remembering a lost treasure may be a sad experience, and you may feel emotional. You are all invited to write your feelings into your books or into the chat as you go. Let's take out this page here. You can also tell my human friend Alistair your feelings, and he will write them inside of me. So I'm the Alistair, and I will do the writing inside the Phoenix and the carpet for you, which is what I've just been saying. And when we tear out a page here on the stream, please tear out a page at home if you have a page to tear out. So, on we go. Let's begin by thinking back to the objects that we've lost. Picture an object that you've lost in your mind's eye. Once you have a clear picture of the object in your mind, draw it in your book or describe it in the chat. So, does anyone have some lost things they want to describe? I lost a watch. I've got a lovely blue watch, but I did lose a watch. That was a present from a girlfriend many years ago, and that's so I'm going to, while you have a think, if you want to, if any of you have anything you want to describe, I'm going to draw this watch in here. Don't know what happened to it. It was a watch with a metal strap. It wasn't actually from the girlfriend, it was from her parents, but it was really nice because it was a very nice watch, and it was kind of came with this kind of sense of sort of being accepted into the family kind of thing, which, you know, that sort of, it was, I don't know, like, that was always a sort of special thing. So I don't know where it ended up, but there we go, there's the watch. And so if you have something that you own that you're drawing into your book, then you have a look, then there's my little watch, which I pictured clearly in my mind. Do tell me if I'm moving on too fast, by the way. This is a testing session, so feedback like that is really useful if I'm moving on too fast. There we go. Where do you think that object is now? So, that object... Oh, so Mike's lost about 40 million pairs of sunglasses. So let's track down the pair that had the brown lenses. Thin silvery metal frames and black sheaths on the end of each hook. The lenses were slightly flat ellipses. Okay, so I'm guessing I'm going to use a pencil because that's the closest thing I've got to silver. And here's the sunglasses and black sheaths on the end of each hook. dark brown lenses. So I'm going to see if I can do a kind of reflection effect, which is what these diagonal lines are. That's a trick I've learnt to make things look reflective, but I don't know if I just see that as reflective because I've been conditioned to see that as reflective. So there we go, we've got Mike's sunglasses here with their silver frames, and then the hooks with black on the end. I found a black Sharpie here, so let's put that on. And where do you think they are now, Mike? Where do you think these sunglasses are? And we had a lost face mask, which was a black mesh over red. So that's, the red pen is kind of dry. I've got another one here. There we go. And it's just because I presume it probably had white strings over it. So the closest colour to white that stands out in my mind's eye is always blue. So these are the bits that go over your ears, and then the black mesh. There we go. Let's do that with a biro. Let's see. I hope that looks somewhat like your lost mask. And where do you think the mask is now, Leon? So the sunglasses are on a beach in France, slowly washed out to sea, and now they're on the seafloor in the middle of the Atlantic. Right, so let's draw a little sand here, the sand of the seafloor. That's where the sunglasses are now. So, if they fell out of a pocket on a walk, maybe these... maybe your face mask is in a grass somewhere, maybe? So there we go, we've got some seaweed or coral or something. There we go. And the deep blue sea. So, what I'll draw for you, Leon, is I will draw... What I'll draw for you is some bubbles. There we go. So we've got Mike's sunglasses on the seabed and Leon's face mask in the grass. I had a grey pen, I draw the pavement as well, but I've got a pencil, so pencil will have to do. I hope that reads. So I think the watch is at a so we've got a jumper that was left in the cloakroom. So what I might do for the process of continuing, I will use this jumper for the next question. Let's see. I think the watch is in my old student house as I moved out of at the end of second year. That did not register. That is interesting. So let's try this one. No, I think we've got a blockage. I have to keep on shredding pages to... I think Shredwood might have gone to sleep. Let's find out. Oh no, I know what's happening. I've lost I need to have the game in focus, otherwise it won't register. There we go. There we go. So on to the next question. If that object could choose to go anywhere in the world, where do you think it would choose to be? So maybe if you could write that down or add that to what you've written or drawn in your book. Aidan, let's find out about where you think your jumper would choose to be, where if it could go anywhere. That's a jumper drunkenly left in the cloakroom of a terrible club 3 years ago. Never find another one with quite the same thickness. Oh god, I have a similar experience with a jacket. It was kind of like a pea jacket that I left in the cloakroom of a sports centre and was never seen again. And oh god, and I haven't found one like it since. So I know that pain. So yes, if this watch could be anywhere in the world, where would it choose to be? So I think like this watch was a fancy gift. Like it looked quite expensive. I don't know if it was, but it certainly looked it. So I think it would be a bit of a kind of high roller. Maybe it goes to casinos and that. So I'm going to draw lots of coins, lots of money to live with, and maybe a roulette wheel. There we go. It's out playing roulette in Las Vegas. So let's see if I can draw a roulette wheel. That's putting them all on red. So roulette wheel has one green doodad, and then alternating black and white doodads. So it will be adopted by someone in the club. Excellent. So I will finish drawing this roulette table where my watch now lives. There we go. That's the roulette table. And let's draw this maroon sweater. I think red might be the closest pen I've got to maroon. Oh, I could maybe darken it with the brown or something. Being worn by someone who really appreciates it. I wonder who would really appreciate a nice warm jumper that I can draw. Let's say Nicolas Cage. I think Nicolas Cage would like it. And we've got a Sonic the Hedgehog shaped hat. Oh my god, I love that picture of the Sonic the Hedgehog's hat on an athlete's head to help them run faster. So feel free to draw these pictures in your own books. Okay, I don't know why. I think spiky hair just ended up. I've given this guy claws. So we've got Nicolas Cage, the clawed Nicolas Cage. Now that I can picture him, and I'm like, I have no idea how to draw him, so I'm just going to draw a big pair of sunglasses. Maybe Nicolas Cage has Mike's sunglasses. And he's happy. And he's got a nose. And he's got kind of... Actually, that looks kind of like Jack Nicholson. So I'm going to keep it. There we go. I've got Jack Nicholson there. And let's just one more. I'm going to draw the athlete very quickly with the Sonic hat on. Gotta go fast. I see what happens whenever I click the mouse. It moves the focus away, and it's really easy to do accidentally. There we go. We've got an athlete in a Sonic hat going fast with one of those vesty things and a pair of blue shorts. And going very fast. So the sunglasses might be happy in their watery home. That is very true. So let's shred a page and continue with the story. Shredwood 2 was just a paper shredder with a face drawn on. But to the books and the shredders who live in this workshop, he was an adventurer. And there's Shredwood 2 going off. This was going off to an adventure in Berlin. He went out to a maze festival in 2019 to be exhibited there. That's him all packed up. Shredwood 2 was the shredder who went to America and Korea and Germany. So yes, I have multiple shredders. I've got, I mean, here's a little mini junior one here. I've just made a ton of stuff all over, but here's a little mini shredder. But Shredwood 2 was the shredder who got to go traveling around the world. He was the one who was the first one who was consistently reliable. And here he is. This was in Berlin. This is me and Shredwood with the massive, like, he was switched on for 4 hours straight. 4 hours straight? 4 days straight at that festival. And we made an absolute tower of paper. It was enormous. It was really fun. And when he came back from his... And when he came back from his trips and emerged from his suitcase, he'd tell us all of us books about the adventures he'd had and the friends he'd made. And there's some of the book friends that he made. This was out in... where was it? This was in Birmingham. This was EGX. We went to EGX, and these are 4 of the books that got made at the festival. It's always nice, people kind of leave them behind and they greet the next set of guests. One time, he was supposed to fly to Berlin, but he went on the wrong conveyor belt and went to Vienna by accident. But he found his way back. In early 2020, he was packed up for one more adventure, far away, sent in a parcel. He was well looked after and met a lot of curious art fans and strange machines. And yes, Shakespeare and Katie Price, those, like, seriously, were really popular, both those authors. That and Game of Thrones were the most popular things to be shredded for some reason. After this exhibition, he was packed up and sent home. But he never arrived. I remember how we waited at the door, how the postman would come every day, and we hoped he'd be carrying a big box with our mechanical friend in it. But he never did. This is true, by the way. This is all true. Shredwood 2 never did return from this exhibition. I believe he was lost in the post somewhere. Have you ever just waited for someone who never arrived? Or waited for something that never happened? How did you feel? So this is a space where you can write your feelings inside the book or type them into chat if you've had an experience where you have waited for someone who never arrived. Chippy lives with Nerd, so that's good. It's good that that is a thing that happens. So something that never happened. I'm trying to think from my own life. I mean, I feel like I should have these queued up before the event. So, someone who never arrived or something that never happened. Honestly, I'm going to go with a sort of super mundane one. But I remember waiting for Sonic Adventure to come out on PC. I know that's not particularly emotional. I know, I can dig deeper. I think there was a show, an event I performed the playable show at, and it was this really small event, but there were like a lot of real kind of big movers and shakers, you know, kind of academics and sort of game designers I really admired at the thing, and I was really hoping that they would turn up to see the show, and that was part of the excitement of going there, is being able to perform my show in front of these people, and they never showed up in the crowd. I remember being like really kind of, it felt like this kind of barrier that I couldn't sort of get past, is that I was like, oh, am I always going to be a minnow, you know? Am I always going to be a small figure? And I wonder, like, the thing is, I know that there are big problems with that line of thinking, and I try not to think that way, but at the time I remember thinking, you know, that this was some big opportunity that had passed me by, that I was somehow not valid or something. You know, it's not fair to put that emotion on, you know, responsibility for that emotion on these people, because they have the right to show up or not show up or they want. But talking about the feeling, I do remember that feeling of these people not showing up, and you know, they were not obliged to. That's the thing, they had no obligation to, but you know what I mean, it's like, it's a feeling. So I'm going to go expecting your heroes to come and see your show, and how did I feel? And I felt small, I think is the big thing. I felt small. It was still a really good show, but I also felt kind of stupid for feeling that way, which is, you know, I kind of knew I shouldn't be placing, you know, my, I shouldn't be placing this on other people. It's like, yeah, they are totally within their rights. They can show up or not just show up to what they want. They probably didn't even know about it, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, so Mike, on his 27th birthday, Vanda and him had just started renting their first flat together, and he had to wait all day in the freezing empty flat for the bed to be delivered, and it never turned up. Worry, anger, self-pity, fixating on the fact that it was your birthday. Oh god, that sounds horrible, especially the fact that the flat was freezing. I think you have every right to feel upset about that one. That's yeah, and it was you on your own, like, with nothing to do but to sort of focus on that feeling and, like, just absorb the cold. That sounds very unpleasant. The book's already kind of falling apart, so let's move on. Have you ever found yourself waiting for things to go back to normal and having it to accept that they never would? What was that like? So you feel free to write in your own book, alright, these things. I will think of one from my own life, waiting for things to go back to normal and having to accept that they never would. Mike says it was called 2020. You know what? I might just put that in for this one here. 2020. Oh god, I thought of another one. Spellbinder Series 2. Spellbinder Series 2. And what was it like? I don't want to waste time by talking about what Spellbinder was. But yeah, 2020, what's it been like? You know, this sense that nothing's going back to normal. Because that's, you know, I was waiting for after the summer, everything would be back to normal. And we're nearly a year on now. And I've had to get used to the fact that this will last as long as it lasts. So I think for me, the sensation has been watching it stretch on to infinity. That's sort of the impossibility of it. An impossible wait. Stretching on to infinity. So feel free to write these in your own books. I'm going to shred a page to move on to the next question. Oh wow, carefree musical gigs after the Paris attacks. Yeah, that must have been a big thing. And hello NTYLPG. Welcome to the stream. Having to accept that there's literally nothing anyone can do about it. Oh, I totally feel that. Yeah, that's definitely true. Same true for me. And yeah, I think after the Paris attacks, that must have really, like, shaken you. Like, even, you know, when you go out to see a gig or something, or go out to a performance, and, you know that is always going to be a presence in the back of your mind. That must have, you know, that must have been a big thing. I mean, I'm presuming, Tatiana, that you were living in Paris at the time, or at least were close to people in Paris, and that must have been, yeah, really quite a scary sort of feeling. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, no, I mean, that is a very real feel, very justified. We were supposed to be a family, all of us books and all of us shredders. Were you ever able to accept that things would never go back to the way they were supposed to be? I think with 2020, I mean, I've still got it in my head that it might take a while, but things will go back to normal. And I think that is true, but I'm actually scared that they won't, you know? I'm scared that I won't be able to perform my playable show anymore because people are too close to each other, and that will become kind of taboo. So I'm gonna put that down in mine. I'm still scared of 2020. Of 2020. What if it becomes unpalatable? To do my shows. So there we go. Question. Keep on. If you have things to write, feel free to share at any point as I shred a page and move the text on. We were a family, but now one of us was gone. And thank you for the validation, Mike. Thank you. I appreciate that. We were a family, but now one of us was gone. Missing in some unknown customs warehouse. Never switched on. Is a shredder who is never switched on even alive? If he's not switched on, Would he even remember us? I think the book is asking us a rhetorical question here. Is a Shredder who is switched on never even alive? I guess that's a question for you, and the question for, are your lost sunglasses, are they alive? Do they have some part of your spirit in them? Like, this jumper which belonged to Aiden, is the jumper still a jumper if it is not worn? Big question. The object that you lost. How would it feel about not being able to see you again? About not being able to come home? So I'm thinking back to my watch. And I think if my watch, because the reality is my watch isn't in Las Vegas playing and winning at roulette. My watch was behind the back of some sofa, maybe was found, maybe lost, maybe at some time that house is going to be demolished, the sofa will be in a skip, and the watch will go to landfill. So how would it feel about not being able to see me again? I think it would be a loss of hope. I think that watch would feel a loss of hope. It was going to be shown off. It was going to be an impressive piece of jewelry, and it never got to get shown off, like it did for a few months and then never again. So, what was the words I used? A loss of hope. Never getting to be shown off again. To us, Shredwood 2 was an adventurer. He travelled the world to bring people smiles. He approached total strangers with a smile and helped them connect with their feelings. So what the book Ritual's always been about is giving people a space where they can connect with their feelings. Shredwood 2 sat with these people while they poured their hearts out. When they needed to cry, he gave them space and let them. Shredwood 2 was a good person. Well, he was like a good person. He was an object, but he was a good listener. And listening is a thing that a person does. Get these out of it so it doesn't get blocked up, and I've just lost hearing in my ear, by which I mean headphones. There we go, I'm back in the room. When you lost your object, did you miss it like you would miss a person? What about it did you miss? Oh, thank you very much, Mike. That means a lot, thank you. So yes, any thoughts on the objects that you lost? Did you miss it like you would miss a person? And what about it did you miss? Because I think with the watch, what I missed was the attachment that I had to it. Because the watch to me represented, it was my connection to my girlfriend, it was my connection to her family, that this was that it's sort of, there was a kind of within the fragility of like losing that watch, of it being something that is so easily cast aside, so easily lost, you know, and it felt like, you know, is this connection the same, you know, this connection with my girlfriend, the connection with her family. So I'm going to go losing the connection to my girlfriend and her family. Was that object alive? Was that watch alive? Shredwood 2 was alive in the eyes of the people he touched. He lived in the smiles he created and the impression he gave of someone who would listen and understand. Shredwood 2 set an example for us to live by. He taught us to accept loss and change and decay. Shredwood 2 showed us how to let go of material things. He showed us how to let go of words and messages and voices. You know, Shredwood 2 have travelled around the world with him. Or travelled to America, travelled to Germany, travelled to France, Spain with him, and you know, he's teaching people it's okay to shred up a book, that it's fine to let these material things go. Do you have anyone in your life who has influenced you through their words? Someone who has lived through a message that they taught, or an example that they set? Like, I'm thinking of, you know, there's people that I've never even known who have influenced me, you know, people who I've looked up to, you know, artists and creators, people who've written sort of books that I have read again and again with, you know, messages that I really believe in. So who would I pick, you know, from someone whose life has influenced me entirely through their words? There is a game designer who basically got me into making games, you know, thinking about making games professionally in the first place. And he's the designer of a game called Kongai, which was this massive influencer. I mean, Leon in the audience will have heard me chew his ear off about it several times. But in terms of career, his name was David Serlin, and his writing really made me think about what games are and what games can be, and this had a massive effect on, you know, what I've wanted out of my career and the games I've ended up making. Another one, I'm just going to note down another, Douglas Wilson is another game designer who has massively influenced me. Johann Sebastian Joust, you know, I've never met him, but I've read bits of his thesis, I've read his blog articles and things about playfulness, and they really made me rethink what games are and what they could be, to the extent that I'm making stuff like the book Ritual today. And yeah, and we've got a Terry Pratchett book in the audience, Mike points out, and Terry Pratchett has been massively influential on so many people's lives, you know. And here's a question. Is a paper shredder any different? I realise I'm incredibly bleached right now because it's all gone dark. Hailstones are coming down. So I'm going to switch on the lights in the room and see if that helps. Yeah, a bit more ambient lighting. You'll get to look at my lovely boots. There we go. So, is a paper shredder any different? Look around you. All of these paper pages at your feet. All of the wispy shreds in front of me. All these memories. Pieces of a book, pieces of a story, disconnected from the whole, but still with something to say. Does a book have to be complete to have meaning? Does a single page, detached from the book it used to be in, still have meaning? Shredwood 2 is gone now, lost in a customs warehouse, never to be switched on again, but his soul was never powered by electricity. His soul is in the hearts and the memories of the people he's touched. He is connections he's made. He is the experiences that these people have taken away with them. Everyone who has felt they have learnt or grown by playing the book ritual has shared a piece of Shredwood 2's soul. Where does the soul of a paper shredder live? In its electronics? In its detachable cardboard head? Remember back to your earliest happy memory. Tell me about it. What do you remember? So I'm thinking back my earliest happy memories. I can remember Christmas Day when I was like 4 years old and coming down to the living room and seeing the presents and the stocking and Santa had been and the kind of magic of that. My parents would be, there waiting for me, and it was this magical experience. So I'm going to draw a little picture of that. I can distinctly remember the colours and the layout. Like, the funny thing is, the paint. We had light brown or yellow walls in the living room at that point in time. In most of my memories, I remember the walls being pink because that's what they are now, but that's one where I still remember the yellow walls, which is really weird. Let's draw this Christmas tree in its little red pot. And we've got presents. There'd been a big brum for me and a big one for my brother. And the staircase comes down into the living room. There was a huge blizzard when you were 4, and it's the only thing you remember about the house you lived in. Wow. That's amazing. Like, literally twice your height in snow. That sounds amazing. Like, so where I live, I'm in the southwest of the UK. This is where I've kind of grown up, and, you know, where I live today. Like, the same part of the country. And we tend to have kind of, I guess, relatively warm winters. Like, it never gets, like, it's never good snow weather. So to me, like, this thickness of snow is a lot of snow. Like, that is a good snow. And as a kid, I used to believe that it was only allowed to snow once a year, and after it had snowed once, it wouldn't snow again for the rest of the year, and that was just like the rules. So yeah. So the shredders appear to be blocked. I'm glad I added that message in. There we go. Yeah, I would love to experience, like, proper thick snow. Like, I mean, I'm sure, like, for those of you who are used to it, it's probably, like, an absolute nuisance, but, like, to me it just sounds magical. Since that memory, so Chippy just had to lean out the window for the hail. This is what we have here when we don't have snow, is we have to lean out the window for hailstones. I do love hailstones, though. So anyway, since that memory, every single cell in your body has been replaced. But the happiness is still a part of you. It has made you who you are. When your cells die, the happiest lives on, because of it influences the new cells that grow. What if the consciousness of a shredder is the memories of the people who have played with it? Maybe Shredwood 2 is alive. Not in a box in a customs warehouse, but in the tiny ways people's lives are just a tiny bit different from having met him. Everyone we meet leaves us a page or a shred of a paper. Everyone we meet adds something to our soul. This is how we grow. This is how we become new people. Take the pages you have torn out and attach them to your book. Give it paper wings or paper legs, a paper tail, paper ears, paper horns, paper smiles. Let's turn our book into fantastical, beautiful creatures. Let's turn our books into something new. So if you have a book with papers, like pages missing now. Turn that book, let's stick together pages, turn that book into something. I'm going to start with this book. I'm going to take some of the pages that we've written on. Feel free to type stuff in that I should do, but I'm going to make a beautiful set of wings for this book. I'm going to start with that. So feel free a lot to go and attach stuff to your book at home. There we go. So if you need, you can use glue, you can use tape, use scissors, or you can just tear stuff out. It's entirely up to you. You can use your pens and draw stuff on there. You can use, whatever you like. If you've got, maybe you've got bits of old wrapping paper left over from Christmas or something, or, bills that you want to use. I'm going to add, so this is a little bit out of shot. I'm going to see if I can add sort of kind of like angel wings, like a kind of cresting upwards to this book. Turn it into some kind of beautiful angelic creature. Give it a bit of extra support with the tape here. I feel a bit like Neil Buchanan on Art Attack, which is, I mean, that's a good thing to live to be, really. I mean, Neil Buchanan, there's someone else who, who I've been influenced by his words without ever actually meeting him. So Neil Buchanan used to host this art program on British TV, and his whole thing was, anyone can do it, it's allowed to be messy, you have a go, and anything can be turned into art. So washing up liquid bottles and sticky back plastic kind of stuff. It was real kind of making wacky characters and that. There we go. Art Attack was one of your favourites when you were really young. You have very good taste in TV. And hello, Angel Mochi Girl, by the way. Thank you for joining us. So we've got some wings at the moment. You can see that flapping away. I want to give it like a long tail. What kind of tail should it have? Like, should it have like a kind of forked tail, kind of like a pointy devil's tail, or a bushy tail like a squirrel? Like, what kind of tail would you like to have? Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, I guess Neil Buchanan, he was very much aimed at kids. But what he used to do was he would do these, they were called big art attacks. And they were these massive, a curly pigtail. I will see what I can do, Aidan. Thank you very much for it. I would never have thought of that, so thank you. So let's see, I'm gonna make this up of tail pieces. So yeah, Neil Buchanan, he would do these massive pieces of art, like, made out of like laundry, or he'd go to a building site and make stuff out of the rubble. He would just find stuff and make these massive things, and they would have this big crane that went up into the air to film him from above, so you could watch him doing these massive artworks. It was really quite amazing stuff. And that's, I guess that's always, influenced me, because, like, I think it's important to be messy, it's important not to be precious, it's important to, like, find joy in not being perfect. Like, you don't need to be an artist to do art, You just need to make stuff. go. So, curly pigtail. Anything else we want to add to this? I think I want to add some big bunny ears to this character. And then I think once we've done that, we can move on. There we go. So we've got, there we go. We've got beautiful wings and a swirly tail like a piggy. There we go. Look at that. That's actually come out really nicely, that tail. I love it. Flappy wings. It's kind of draping itself in its wings, kind of like Dracula or something. So let's finish off by giving it some nice big bunny ears. And let's use the scissors for this. The inside parts of the ear here. That's one ear. That's two ears. And just a little bit of tape on the inside to tape them into place. And there we go. We've got our beautiful bunny angel book. I'm really happy with that. That's really nice. It's lovely. So, I mean, if you've you can see my Twitter handle down there. So, you know, if you want to message me pictures of what you've made at home, I'd love to see them. Or feel free to describe them in the chat. And thank you very much, Aidan. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ash. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it. I like to believe that none of us ever die. We live on as the wings and the tails and the ears and the horns and the smiles that we give each other. And those we have lost live on in us. By making us who we are today. Thank you very much, everyone. This has been the end of the new chapter of the book Ritual, chapter titled In Memory of Absent Friends. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So I guess now is the point where really what I'm looking for is feedback. You know, what you thought about it, what the experience was like for you. So you can feel free to type into the chat now. My Twitter handle is it's there in the bottom right hand corner as well. Those of you who know me on Facebook can also send me Facebook messages, or I should probably give you trying to think the best way to email me. games@alistairaitchison.com if you want to send an email. So basically, yeah, if you have any thoughts or feedback, I would love to hear from you, hear what it was like for you. And yeah, if you have photos of the books and things that you've made, the mess that you've made at home, I would love to see that too, if you're happy to share that. But yes, if you are happy to share stuff in the comments and would like to do that, the floor is open for us to discuss and chat. So thank you very much. And thank you, Leon. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. So yes, I'm just going to, basically I'm happy to sort of sit and chat until basically we've, until I decide it's time to stop. I appreciate there is a kind of a lag between me speaking and then you being able to type. It's not like a normal conversation where, if I'm asking you a question and then you need time to type in order to respond. Like, I don't hear you typing until you've pressed enter. So the stream layout is really good, lots to look at, and everything has enough space. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. That's good to know. And I was thinking about the stream layout when I was setting it up, because I wanted the book and the shredder, basically the book and the shredder and the game should have kind of equal attention, but I want my face to be on there as well. But the thing is, there's nothing my face is doing that's particularly important, so I was happy to make that a lot smaller. And thank you very much, Tatiana. Appreciate it. So yes, I mean, my own thought... fantastic, Mike. Let's see what you had. The time I took to validate people's feelings and reactions. Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. So just to read this out to anyone who can't see the chat, Mike really appreciated the time that I took to validate people's feelings and reactions. He wasn't expecting to participate much today, as the last few weeks have been fairly stressful. But I and the chat created a very welcoming environment, and he felt safe enough to share some emotional things. Well, thank you very much. I'm really glad that you did feel safe, that you did feel like this was a safe space to do that. So thank you. Thank you for putting yourself into it. Like, I really appreciate, obviously, trying to verbalize it really. I think, I appreciate from your end as an audience member, to participate, asked of you to kind of engage with some emotional things, and, that might be difficult. You might not be in the right place for that, and it requires I think to interact with something like this, you need to be a bit brave as an audience member. And so, thank you for being brave, and thank you for, having the confidence in me that made you feel that this would be a safe space. And also thank you very much to everyone in the audience who contributed to that welcoming environment. I think you are all very welcoming, and I guess there is a nice thing where everyone who pitches something in doing that, they kind of show that it's okay for other people to pitch in too. And so, yeah, every one of you who typed something into the chat made it easier, made it more possible for someone else to type in the chat as well. So thank you very much. This was a collaborative experience, and it felt like that from my end as well. That this was a collaborative experience. So this is really good. Thank you for that feedback. And yes, if anyone has any more feedback, feel free to let me know. I'm just going to sit around for, maybe the next 10 minutes and just see what comes up, and and if it goes longer, it goes on longer, but if it doesn't, that's okay, there's no pressure. Fantastic. Thank you very much for the feedback, Aidan. So Aidan says, really cool. He's seen me post Shredder photos on Facebook and Twitter over the years, and is glad to finally have the full context. That's fantastic. Yeah, so Aidan and I, we met, I think it was at Game City up in Nottingham. I think it was the 2014 edition, but could have been earlier. It might have been one of the earlier ones. But yes, so they thought that the pace was a little slow at first, but once they realised what I was going for, and that I took the time to let each statement settle in and experiment with their own book, they find the experience captivating. Okay, that's useful to know. I think, the pacing, I wonder if there's certain bits where I was kind of introducing myself verbally, and then in the script the book was saying that anyway. So it might be that the book as a character doesn't need to reiterate all the points that I'm going to make verbally anyway. Or it could be that when the book does, I just move through them quite quickly. So I think there are probably things that I can do to improve the pacing while keeping it, with the kind of slow, relaxed thing to let people settle in. I think the everyone drawing the thing that they had lost in the context where it might have been lost or where they think it might be now, that felt like a good space to get everybody involved. So in a way, that kind of, in a way, that feels like a kind of a point in, that marks the beginning of our interaction. That's like the inciting incident. If this was a movie, that's our inciting incident in a way, is that is our first point of focus, that is not just setting up context. So that's something to think about, because I kind of feel like I took a lot of time to get to that moment. I guess that's the thing. So Chippy got a bit lost between, is she focusing internally or externally? She chose moments to stop what she was doing and focus on the group, what the group was doing, and then went back to it with more involved tasks. Some of her favourite tasks in the original weren't here, but it's a different approach, and she feels the group space is the main draw. Yeah, that's useful feedback, because I know in the in the full game, so the downloaded version as opposed to the performance today, there's tasks like making sentences by erasing words from the book, or cutting out words and rearranging them, kind of creativity exercise, and I didn't have so many in here. I guess the feeling I had when I was writing it is that in what was supposed to be quite a sort of relatively short experience, in my head this was going to last 20 minutes, and I realised it's lasted a lot longer. But the creative, those tasks would take up a lot of time without kind of latching onto the point of it. So I know those are nice moments, but my gut feeling is that to sort of keep the main creativity aspect of it focused on drawing, because that's something that's kind of sort of quick to pace. Like you can spend a long time over a drawing, you can do a short drawing, but like, and it gets more quickly to the emotional stuff. So this is useful. Thank you, Chippy. This is getting me thinking. So this is good. But it's like, I think what you point out about the I'm just going to move with the mouse, move the screen out of the way. There we go. Yes, the group space is the main draw. Honestly, when I was putting this together, that's kind of not what I was thinking in terms of. In my head, I was picturing that I was having a dialogue with a bunch of individuals online, that every viewer, it was like I'm having a one-to-one conversation with multiple people. But what actually happened is that everybody was pitching stuff in, and that felt a lot warmer and more welcoming than I expected. And I think that's probably something to make more of with like the next version of this chapter, of this performance, because I think that group aspect was really strong. And honestly, that's not something that I enjoyed that's something that the audience brought to this themselves. So Mike says, the pacing is an interesting one to give feedback on, because there are a couple of questions later on that he wasn't 100% sure whether they were supposed to be rhetorical or if you should be typing something in. I did start to type an answer to one question that took a while to think about, but then you moved on, and so I took it that you weren't looking for chat input that time. There were a few times where it was clear that the question was rhetorical, though the confusion wasn't every time. Yeah, I think that's definitely true, Mike. I really agree with you on that. And I wonder if there's a way that I can mark, like, if the things that you are supposed to respond to, if the questions that aren't rhetorical, like the speech bubble has an outline around it or something, so there's a kind of like, there is a visual kind of difference between here is a prompt you're supposed to respond to and here is a rhetorical question. Because I think if you're playing it on your own, like, you know, with the purely digital version, not the performed version, which is what I'm going to call this, I guess this is performance mode. In performance mode, like, the book and the shredder do ask rhetorical questions, and some people answer them and some people don't. And that's fine, like, you know, but I think with this, because I'm kind of dictating the pace, it's obvious, it needs to be obvious to people at home whether they should stop and think. So I think, yeah, I mean, my gut feeling is something as subtle as there is some visual difference that affects prompts you are supposed to respond to, like a white border around a speech bubble, for example. Maybe that will have the effect that it needs, where, yeah, it's obvious which questions are rhetorical and which questions aren't. Yeah. This is fantastic feedback, by the way, everyone. I really appreciate this. So thank you for typing stuff in. This is like, this is excellent. So I am sitting around a little bit longer. So yeah, if you do have further feedback, do feel free to chip in. I'm going to move my mouse, and because somewhere I should be able to see how many people are viewing. And I cannot. So let's see, where am I now? I got a voicemail from a random number. But that's not what I was looking for on my phone. 5 viewers. So, unless that's old stats. I think I have 0 viewers now. So if you are there, thank you very much. But yes, I guess this is time for me to chip out now. Oh, Twitch is telling you there's 8 viewers but 11 in the chat. I cannot find the stats on my Twitch viewer doodad. So I looked at my phone and my phone was like 0 for some reason. But yeah, so very cool. I've worked into a lot of the history of the game into this new chapter. Thank you. Yeah, I guess that was kind of... yeah, I don't know where the idea came from for... I think it just seemed kind of naturally that it just felt nice that a new chapter of the book ritual should be about one of the shredders. So that's good. I'm glad that comes off as a good thing. I was also aware that, you know, there's going to be people who don't know me and don't know what the game is, so like it's up to me to give a bit of context for what that is. So I was aiming to do that verbally. I feel like I did a good job of that, but like I guess hopefully I'll be able to, in the moment, like, you know, when I do this for Indie Maker Syndicate, I'll be able to sort of just get a kind of good gut feel for in the room is my explanation of what this is sufficient. I'll show you how much paper this is. If I point the thing down, that is how much paper has come out to Shredwood. So that is... I mean, that's a good amount of book right there. This is me now. This is the next stage in my evolution. Ah, fantastic. Thank you. It is almost as fancy as a Sonic hat. I do have a little Sonic I could put in it. It's, I'm just going to... I don't know if I can get Sonic to sit up. There we go. He is going to fall down. I'm glad I've invested in a Hoover. Thank you very much. So yes, so Mike says, it's funny, it's so hard to predict how long any kind of storytelling game will take with any given group of people. So he's been diving into tabletop RPG design recently, and a lot of games they could take half an hour when they could easily take 5 hours if you enjoy fleshing out descriptions. Oh, I appreciate that as well. Like that's, yeah. Yeah, I got nothing to add other than, yeah, I can sympathise. I think the feeling is real. I'm trying to think of things I've done recently that have had a similar feel about them, and I think I've had that with like shows and things, like with the Incredible Playable show. Starting out on that, it was impossible to gauge how long it would need to be, because it's like how much explanation and encouragement the audience needs in order to get into a game. In that would change from event to event. So I guess the more I've done it, the better I've got at working with the audience, and it's become a bit more, and and figuring out, okay, what is the simplest and easiest way to explain this game. But like, yeah, but with something like a tabletop RPG, I guess, like, it changes every time, like, because it's not just you're approaching a new crowd, but you're approaching a new crowd with totally new content as well. So, like, at least with the Playable Show, it's a different crowd every night, but the run of games is the same, and so each game will take roughly the same length each, so it's just the interim that's going to change, and and the interim's always leading to the same place. But with a tabletop RPG, you're like, yep, new story today, or new chapter today, or new mechanics today, and there's always something new in there. Yeah. The games that drag on are the fun ones. Yeah, that is so true. Cool. Well, I think I'm going to move on now, everyone. But this has been fantastic. Thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in, by the way. I do really appreciate it. And so I just got to check these messages very quickly. So, yeah. So yes, and thank you for all of you who showed up, and thank you, Mike, well, obviously thank you, Mike, thank you, Matt, from Indie Maker Syndicate, for coming along to this, because I appreciate this is probably earlier in the morning for you than you were expecting it to be. Indie Maker Syndicate is run out of America, I believe, on the East Coast. And so I appreciate you had to get up early in the morning to see this, and so thank you very much for coming along. And yes, all of you who've come along and taken part in this, and whether you were typing into the chat or just playing along quietly on your own, your presence has been very welcomed, and thank you very much for coming along and helping me with this. This has been really helpful. So yes, as always, you've got my Twitter there. You can Google my name if you want to find games@alistairaitchison.com is my email if you want to send me feedback. And feel free to do that at any time. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I guess it's goodbye from the Phoenix and the Carpet. It's waving its little wing at you there. Oh, you're welcome, Mike, and thank you for coming. It's goodbye from Shredwood 3 over here, and it's goodbye from me and Sonic. Bye, everyone. I've got to find the mouse.